Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou kicker e único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$ 200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$ 1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Birds of the Roundtable. Today, we are breaking down the top takeaways against the Dallas Cowboys and looking ahead, top matchups to watch against the Washington Commanders, score predictions, prop bets, all that fun stuff. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, Ben. Ready to, gloat a little bit about the Cowboys win and then move right along to the Commanders, who obviously we all had circled on our calendar as the game of the year, definitely in preseason.
Also joining us, he is David, one of the best Eagles followers there is on X, at PHL Eagle News. What's good, David?
Doing great, man. We're riding a 5-game win streak. Everybody wanted to see one of those kind of belt to the backside type of games. We got it. The entire second half, they took them out to the woodshed, I guess is the phrase to use there. So, man, I'm doing good. Looking forward to the Commanders game, but I won't give my thoughts yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
All right, before we get started, let's take a step back, look at the offense and the defense and player of the game against the Cowboys. Ryan, what was your main offensive takeaway?
So offensive takeaway is that, this offense can be really scary when it has its full weapons. And we even still technically we're missing Jordan Mailata, who somehow, some way might actually be activated for the Commanders game. He was a full participant in practice today, so that was certainly a great sign. But, Dallas Goedert was back. A.J. Brown, Devontae, even Dotson got in the mix there with that nice 27-yard catch. This offense is a very potent offense. I mean, we just put up 34 points. Now, again, it was kind of a wounded Dallas defense, but, they had Trayvon Diggs. They had Micah Parsons, and, they were certainly in, Jalen Hurts' face all day. But offensively, when things are rolling, and especially in that second half, man, it was really sweet to see that that third quarter, they just dominated, put the game away, and we were able to finally see a little bit of Kenny Pickett in Midnight Green there finally. So all great things. That's what you want to see, especially on the road, especially when you haven't won since 2017 in Dallas.
All right. Speaking of feels like 2022, the Eagles are now second best in second half points per game at 15.3, and their last 3 games they are tied for first in the NFL with 19.7. David, what was your offensive takeaway?
I guess my biggest takeaway with the offense was that it didn't implode after having those early turnovers. Jalen had that interception in the end zone, and then they turned the ball over, I think, at their own 6. The defense bailed them out, only gave up a field goal there, and they never looked back. Hurts had some early protection issues. He was sacked 5 times, and I know a lot of people are going to say, a lot of those are his fault, get rid of the ball earlier. But if you watch the All-22 and look at everything, 2 of those at the most were on him, maybe just 1. And the one is if you think Goddard was open or not. But Kenny Gainwell did an Olay there and allowed a sack. And 2 were due to 4 vertical routes, which he had nowhere to go with the ball. So I think that was pretty impressive how they did that. They create their own long down and distance by giving up these sacks and with penalties. And once they clean that up, they'll be even more lethal than they've already shown, because they've been really, really good. And I think the biggest takeaway that you could say that, and you could say it for every game this year, is whoever did it, whether you want to give the credit to Sirianni or Kellen Moore, they have cleaned up the fatal flaw that was not having an answer to the blitz. He was pressured 53% of the time or something in this game, I believe it said, and he was 7 of 9 for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns while being pressured. So I just think that the offense is just rolling, and the only thing that's stopping them is themselves. The sky is the limit for them going forward.
That's exactly what it is. It took them basically a quarter and a half, that final drive to end the first half. They finally started to go to the quick throws. They finally started to get this offense and Jalen Hurts in the rhythm. Like you said, David, way too many long developing plays, whereas Dallas was just going right after Jalen Hurts. And to not adjust is kind of frustrating, at least during the halftime show. I remember calling them out on it, and it really just rolled over into the second, and they just took over. It wasn't 4 quarters, but the result was exactly what we expected. I thought Jalen Hurts was fine. This was like a B+ game for me. He held on the ball at times too much, but I think this guy is just under way too big of a microscope in Philadelphia. I think expectations are consistently through the roof. This was the quintessential Jalen Hurts experience, where he had a couple of decision-making blunders in this game, but you take those away. I thought he made some really amazing throws. The one throw he made under pressure to Dallas Goedert, I thought the dime he had to A.J. Brown down the field. Again, when this team is cooking on offense, nobody really gives a damn, and they never give credit to Jalen Hurts. Never. And when the shit hits the fan, it's everything goes just snow piles onto Jalen Hurts. So I don't get it. His last 5 games, he's been outstanding. So again, 14 of 20, 202, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, 115 passer rating. But if you go by the YouTube comments and things like that, it's not even like that whatsoever. It's the exact opposite, in fact. So my take is Jalen Hurts is fine. People need to pump the brakes. Any thoughts on that, guys, before we roll on the defense?
No, well said. I mean, it is ridiculous. It's Philly. I get it. We expect and demand, the highest of the high. I mean, we want Jalen Hurts to make Patrick Mahomes look like, Ryan Leaf, So, again, I understand that he's not perfect. We've never said that he was perfect. We are critical when we need to be critical. He did hold on to the ball quite a bit there. He probably could have thrown the ball away a few times, yes. But still overall, I like their game plan. I like the way he played. Like a few plays back, but ultimately, I think he is on the upward trajectory for this season, especially the way he was playing earlier in the year. So these are all things that you want to see. Is last year we were 10-1. We were a little uneasy about it, but we're like, hey, at least we're winning games. Well, listen, we're 7-2, and we can see that we're getting better throughout the season. Last year we didn't have any of that. We had no real gauge of what was going on. We'd squeak by. We'd make, we had ugly wins. We had all that. This year, early in the season, we're still kind of figuring out. The defense is still trying to figure out Vic Fangio's system. Now it seems like they certainly have, and it seems like the offense is rolling along too. So it's an upward trajectory as a team. That's exactly where you want to go, and it's being led by Jalen Hurts. And listen, people are going to talk crap on him. It doesn't matter what we say. People are going to call us homers, I'm sure, as Marshawn is kind of alluding to. And I don't really care. We here at the Birds of the Round Table are plenty critical when we need to be critical, but we need to be living in reality, not just in hater Philadelphia.
Yep. Last 5 games, Jalen Hurts, 1,259 total yards.
12,000. Wow.
I'm tired. 16 touchdowns, 72% completion percentage, a 125 passer rating.
Yeah, I think another point is they go into every game with the game plan of what they think is the best way to attack the opposing defense. And when it doesn't work, like it didn't early on in this game, they switch gears and they do things on the fly, which is a big difference than last year. Last
Yeah.
year, nothing changed. They just sunk further and further. It didn't matter. They throw 4 vertical routes in the first quarter and the fourth quarter. Nothing ever progressed.
Yeah.
This is they go into it and people will say, why are they still doing that? Well, they never do anything without thinking it's the right thing to do. But at least they're willing to pivot now. And I think the funniest comments I see on there, you were referring to like YouTube comments, like I'll see a comment, Jalen held onto the ball for 3.6 seconds. He needs to get rid of the ball faster. 3 plays later, Jalen held onto the ball for 3.6 seconds again, but this time it's, oh, he did a great job buying time on that touchdown throw. I mean, people are looking at the same thing, and it changes with whatever narrative they want it to be. And I've always found that pretty comical, but I think everything's going in the right direction. I would rather be this team at 7-2 than last year's team at 10-1 because things progress on a weekly basis.
Absolutely.
That is a great point. Yeah, that is a great point. And as you can see, the votes, 69% gave Jalen Hurts a B, and then 1% gave him a D.
Well, who is that guy? I mean,
No.
seriously.
Where was the game last week from Jalen Hurts against the Jaguars 2 weeks ago? There 2% gave him a D. It doesn't matter. It's just the point is it doesn't matter. All right, let's get to defensive takeaways. I got to let David go first. Take your flowers.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to take his right away because I try to leave that for Ryan, but I'd like to start this off with Cooper Rush is terrible. And Trey Lance must be worse. Like, I don't even understand what's going on over there, but for whatever reason, because anybody who disagrees with any of our takes will say things about, oh, they weren't playing anybody. So let me get that out the way right from the start. Cooper Rush is terrible. Lance looked even worse. But Vic Fangio's defense smothered them and created 5 turnovers, which is the most they've had in a game in 2 years. It's back from October of 2022 against Jacksonville is the last time they did that. The Cowboys finished with 32 net passing yards. I mean, that's almost unfathomable. I mean, I can't even believe that's a number we're discussing. They only had 146 total yards. They only made it to the red zone twice, and they only got 3 points out of that. So they just smothered them to death. I mean, Bryce Huff had a strip sack, hardly played. And the one guy I want to give the little bit of flowers to is Jalix Hunt. I was so excited to see this guy. He was had the second most snaps amongst all edge rushers in this game. He tipped a pass that was could have been intercepted by Nakobe Dean. He made his presence known throughout the whole game. I mean, this is a very exciting class. And before we move on to the Commanders, I want to we do an offense and defense, but I want to do a rookie section just for like 1 minute. But
I love
Ryan, enjoy your
linebackers. Love it. I honestly, I think we should do like a rookie segment. That would be awesome.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Listen, this defense has completely transformed from, before the bye to right now. And, it really goes to show you that, it's partly, these players buying in. It's partly Vic Fangio kind of learning how to utilize his players. And it's really the system, too, because it is a very complex system. And you're getting a lot of people here that aren't used to the specifics of this system. And I think it's taken a little while for it to finally come to fruition. And, you're seeing players, like rookies, as we were just kind of alluding to, Quinyon Mitchell, who looks like an absolute stud. Who's shutting down everybody. And even more impressive, Cooper DeJean, who missed training camp, who missed a lot of time, missed a lot of plays, physical plays out there, who has even shorter time out there and has bought in and looked the absolute part. But the takeaway, the official takeaway outside of the amazing rookie cornerbacks, is our linebackers. And there is no chance in hell I would have ever guessed we'd be at this point in the season where we're talking about Nakobe Dean, who I swear I feel like a almost like a proud father. This is a guy that I have been championing for and rooting for since we drafted him. And since I wanted to draft him in the first round, for crying out loud, and we ended up in the third. And Zach Bond. Obviously, David, you have, totally called it. Although, I don't know, you might not get your sack number, but
he far exceeded what I thought, dude.
Yeah, he is far, exactly. He is far exceeded.
That would be, hold on, what'd you say, 5.5?
5.5.
That would be hilarious if he didn't get that. Just
didn't he get 2 week one?
Like an all-pro, and he doesn't get the 5.5.
He got into like week 1 or 2 by that.
And I owe 4 people Frosties from Wendy's if he doesn't get the 5.
Let's go.
4 people messaged me that night.
On has been the highest rated linebacker in the NFL the last couple of weeks. Dean is right there behind him. They are playing as a unit, the two of them. And honestly, you can see that Bond is kind of taking Dean under his wing and kind of, helping him along within this system. And honestly, they've you've seen them talk to Bond about, how he's been fitting and all this. And honestly, I don't understand what's taken Howie so long to re-sign this man. And Bond, if you were even remotely smart, you would sign here. Give him whatever he wants. Obviously, Philly and Bond are an amazing fit. He is playing better than he was when he was in Wisconsin. He obviously hadn't really figured that out in the NFL until now. And whatever it is, whatever it's the system, it's Philly, it's a combination of everything. It's this team. I don't know what, but I love it. Bond has been absolutely the catalyst and the surprise for this defense, and 100% the reason why the defense is more of the story. And when we all thought it was going to be this, 50 points a game offense, Saquon Barkley and AJ, which they kind of still are, but this defense is kind of stealing the limelight a little bit. You gotta love it.
That's a great one. I would have went that route as well. You touched on Cooper, you touched on Q. I'm going to go Jalen Carter, and is now becoming the expectation that he plays at an elite level. We talk about how great this defensive line has been. I mean, PFF had them as the number 2, I think, defensive line in the NFL, which does not pass the eye test whatsoever. But if you're going to go with that, I think on top of the list is Jalen Carter. And if you go to the All-22, I thought he was yet again a game wrecker. I think he's playing some of his best football these last few weeks. But beyond Jalen Carter, it's the Eagles are now getting turnovers. And that has been the biggest difference. We have Davey chiming in, says Bond is a good character too. Top play guy. Extend him immediately. But I said this on Party on Broad last night. From week 4 last year to week 7 this year, that's 21 games, 1,350 snaps. The Eagles forced 12 turnovers. That's a half a turnover per game. Since then, the last 3 games, the Eagles have forced 10 turnovers, 3.5 per game, 1 turnover per 17 plays. And we all talk about how, 2022 and trying to get back to that level of defense. But this last 3-game stretch has been nothing short of outstanding. They're top in the league in turnover margin per game. They're plus 2.3 turnover margin per game these last 3 games. 2 against the Bengals, 3 against the Jags, 5 on Sunday against the Cowboys. Their 10 takeaways is the most the Eagles have had in a 3-game stretch since 2009. And they also had 10 in 3 games in 2015. So I love these numbers. The Eagles are 35-10 under Nick Sirianni when they force at least 1 turnover. They're 6-9 when they don't. When they force at least 2 turnovers, they're 18-1, and they're plus 1 or better in turnover margin under Sirianni when they're 25-1 with 25 straight wins. All those numbers are from Rube on NBC Sports Philly, one of the best reads there is. But that's just – and that's in a nutshell. The Eagles like when Jalen is playing controlled football and this defense is flying around and getting after the quarterback and making plays, this Eagles team just is very, very good.
Yeah, that last stat is probably one of the most insane stats I think I've heard. 25-1 when you are a +1, not a +2, +3, +1. Like that's almost unheard of. And the fact that they've done it 25 times in a row, like, unbelievable. So
yep.
let's keep being smart, Jalen. Let's keep being aggressive defense and snap. Let's keep doing it.
All right. Let's roll on to the Commanders. Ready to roll against the Commanders?
Let me do this rookie shout out real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
60 seconds. Defense, Quinyon Mitchell, seven rookies participated in this game, and it's just that class could really go down as one of his best, if not the best. But Quinyon targeted 5 times, he allowed 15 yards. Cooper DeJean recovers a fumble in the end zone, Zeke's fumble. Almost, if he was like two players away from taking a punt to the house. I mean, which I kind of would like to see him out of that role. I think he's so valuable as a slot nickel corner. I would not like to see him get hurt in that. But moving on, Jalix Hunt, like I mentioned, he played 42% of the defensive snaps. Jeremiah Trotter, who hardly anybody mentions anymore, he isn't playing on the defense, but he has been lights out on special teams, man. I mean, he is playing very good. And then you go to Aeneas Smith, who nobody talks about. 2 receptions on 2 targets in this game. Will Shipley had 9 carries for 34 yards. He averaged 32 yards per kick return. And every time his hands are on the ball, man, that dude runs hard. And I'm assuming Ryan will love this. Kenny Gainwell will probably be gone, and Shipley will be RB2 next season. And then last but not least, Johnny Wilson, man. He gets the touchdown there. His size plays in the red zone. Apparently he's going to have to shave his head because he agreed that he would do that if he got a touchdown from Jalen Hurts this year. So those big locks are about to be gone maybe, but that is 7 rookies who participated in that win in a big way. And you just, how many years did we sit here talking about our rookies never play, they never get on the field? Well, man, they're getting on the field now and they're making a difference.
Yeah. It's incredible.
All right, Commanders.
All right, like just saying it, like the Eagles rookies, especially on defense, is so exciting, man. Like there's not a lot in sports that's more exciting than watching a young defense grow together, and that's where we're seeing, man. It's truly special what the Eagles have put on the field from the last 2 drafts. It's awesome. All right, let's roll on to the Washington Commanders. We're talking top matchups to watch. I'll lead us off. Give me Terry McLaurin versus the Eagles defensive backs. McLaurin is a gamer. He led all Washington receivers with 5 receptions for 113 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's gone over 100 receiving yards 4 times this year, where he only had 5 games with over 100 receiving yards in his 5 other seasons. He's one of the best red zone threats in the league. I think he's got like 7, 8, 9 receptions in the red zone. Him and Jaden Daniels are legit. So next one up for Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell to lock down and take out. We'll get to more prop bets with Terry McLaurin in just a little bit. But he's a huge engine of this Washington offense. So limiting Terry McLaurin, I'm back. He's a very dangerous weapon. Ryan, what's your matchup to watch?
Listen, it's I'm going to kind of take a page out of Dibes' book here and kind of not really give a proper one, but I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels versus Vic Fangio. And it's mostly how I want to see how they're going to limit him, because Jaden Daniels has been extremely impactful. He, in fact, leads the team in rushing, which they do have 2 pretty good runners in Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler. So, I want to see how they're going to utilize the linebackers. Are they going to spy? Are they going to try and kind of hone in on the pocket there to kind of keep them in there? obviously, this is going to be we're going to see him later. We obviously are going to face off against Lamar Jackson, the ultimate weapon right now. And it's really kind of be a precursor to kind of 2 future games here. But Jaden Daniels is the first real runner that we're going to be facing. And I know there's a couple of gifted quarterbacks that can run the ball, but I really want to see how they're going to limit him and make him beat us with his arm. Because if we can, if Coop and Q can do what Dives is talking about against McLaurin, there's not a lot of other options there. And Jaden Daniels is going to have to do a lot himself. So let's see what Vic has in store for him.
Just going real quick. Time to throw for Jaden Daniels, 2.7 seconds, which is about top 15 roughly in the league. Nothing special. What about you, David? What's your top matchup to watch?
I went with Saquon Barkley and the Eagles O-line versus the Commanders D-line. The O-line has struggled some in pass pro, but they haven't struggled at all in the running game. Saquon will be coming off fresh off just a 14-carry game. So he's ready to roll. Mailata could be back after 4 or 5 weeks gone. I know some reports came out, he was like a full participant today, but they're really not practicing. These are just walkthroughs. They didn't even get back till 2:30 a.m. Monday morning. They're nothing's really light. So if he does play, he's coming back to play basically after 5 weeks of no practice, because they're really not doing that. I think you mentioned earlier that the Commanders were 25th in run stop or something like that. So this is a game that the Eagles O-line, that's what they invest in, that can just, express their will to the defensive line of the Commanders and just run this ball down their throat, get some time-consuming drives, because I do think, like Ryan said, their offense is a little dangerous. I mean, it has been problematic over the years for the Eagles to play mobile quarterbacks. So I do think it's a game that you might want to lean on the run a little bit to just really rally up that time of possession.
And I don't know how else to say it. Like, don't be cute, or don't get cute when you especially get into the red zone. Like, feed Saquon. Don't just ride him until you get to the 20-yard line and they go pass. Like, this is a Washington defense that is literally – hold on, I'm going to pull it up. I just lost it. Damn it. But they were third worst in red zone defense. They're giving up I'll have to look it up in a second. But anyway, so this is a team that is vulnerable in the red zone. So feed Saquon, drive it home. If you get second and 1, if you get second and short, third and short, just don't drop back. Have Jalen Hurts drop back for 5-6 seconds. That just be smart with the football. Any other matchups to watch for this one? Jaden Daniels, like the return of Zach Ertz in Philadelphia.
I hope he gets a little standing note. He mentioned today he was wondering what kind of reaction he get, but everybody comes back here that's been as beloved as him gets a good reaction, so I know he will too.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
A.J. Brown and Devontae versus the Commanders corners. The Commanders, any word on Marshawn Lattimore over these last 24 hours? Has anybody heard anything?
I haven't heard. I'm not even concerned about that.
Last I heard, he was still officially in the out status, but it's hard to kind of gauge that. This week when it's a short week, as David said, it's mostly walkthroughs. There's not an official injury report that does come out. It's more or less hearsay. I know Ed Kratz had kind of put out his kind of, hey, this is just kind of an estimation. When talking about Mailata, who was theoretically a full participant, that was just more or less of just his observations about it. So
I'm not worried about any of those corners. I think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith should feast against.
Especially Forbes. They put him out there. They dared to put him out there.
I would love to see that happen. He's not even getting on the field anymore. They have Benjamin St. Juste, who's been toast. in recent weeks. Mike Sanders I'm excited to watch him play. He was one of my favorite corners in the draft last year. Haven't really gotten a chance to see him yet, so that'll be fun. I know he's been getting better and better from what I read. Anything else, guys, before we roll on to predictions?
I think that got it covered. Yeah, and I agree with you, though. I'm not worried about any corner trying to cover A.J. Brown anymore. It's not even something we need to discuss on here. If he's playing at what he's capable of at his top level, it's not even a concern.
Oh, yep. There's a good.
All right, score predictions. Let's look back to the Dallas Cowboys scorecard. I tore it up. I had 7, giving me a lead of 45 points. Everyone else 5, 4, and 4. So let's roll on to the Washington Commanders game. Player of the game prediction. David, where are you going?
Saquon Barkley. Big game from him.
I love it. This was funny too because I remember during the halftime show pounding the table more Saquon. He had half the amount of touches he did compared to 2 weeks ago. And then at the end of the day, I was like, well, they do have another football game in a few days.
Right.
Yeah. Probably for the best. But can I pick Saquon again? Is that allowable?
Yeah, that's the one category that doesn't count. So why do we?
Yeah, right.
I'm going with Saquon. I think that is an obvious choice.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of say the same thing, but we can't. All three of us have yes, can we? But I am gonna go with Quinyon Mitchell.
What? Love it.
He gets his first career interception. I'm calling it right now. Big day, shutting down. Not so scary, Terry.
All right. David, winning team and score and over under 49.5.
I'm going to go under 49.5. I think the Eagles win, and I don't think it'll be particularly close. I'm going Eagles 31, Commanders 13.
Ooh. 44. All right. What about you, Ryan?
I'm going to go Birds. I'm going over. I'm going 31-21.
Yeah, I'm kind of more with you, Ryan.
It's going to be a little closer, yeah.
I'm going to go over. And I'll go 34-23. Now, just to make it closer, 26. All right.
I'm just saying the defense have only given up 10 points a game 5 weeks in a row. But
True.
That is a good point. Okay.
Jesus.
I haven't even thought about this at all. All right, I'll put it back to 34-24. Okay. Jaden Daniels, total touchdowns 1.5. He doesn't really get a lot of touchdowns on the ground when I look at the numbers. Most of it is through the air. David, over under 1.5.
Under.
Ryan.
I'm going to say over.
I will also say over.
Yeah, I think
A.J. Brown or Terry McLaurin, who has more receiving yards?
Come on.
Both have gotten well over 100 pretty consistently. Ryan, going over AJ?
Get out of here. Of course I am.
David.
Scary Terry might not get 40.
Agreed. Jalen Hurts versus Jaden Daniels. Who has more rushing yards?
Ooh.
Ryan.
I'm going to go Daniels.
Daniels for Ryan. What about you, David?
Jaden Daniels.
I'm gonna go Hurts. Over under on receptions for Terry McLaurin 5.5. Ryan.
Ugh. That's tough. That's right around where I kind of thought he was going to be, around like 5 or 6. Damn it. That's a really good line. Come back to me?
Yep. David.
5 under.
I got to go with like recent history. Give me under. Ryan.
I'm going to go over. I think he gets a 6 one.
All right. Total turnovers for Jalen Hurts. We haven't done this in a while because he hasn't had any turnovers.
All right.
Does he have a turnover, a giveaway on Thursday, David?
No.
Under. For David. What about you, Ryan?
I'm going to go over. I think he does have one.
Over?
Yeah.
I will go under. All right. Over, under for Eagles rushing yards allowed. The Washington Commanders do have a pretty potent rushing attack, whereas the Eagles rushing defense has been lights out lately. I put it at 99.5. Over, under, David.
Under.
Under for Ryan. Or David, sorry. What about you, Ryan?
I'm going to go over. They got Daniels. They got Robinson. They got Eckler. I don't doubt that once we shut down Scary Terry, they're going to be running the ball. So I think they squeeze by.
They got shut down by the Steelers. Give me under. We'll see what this team's made out of. We'll see. All right. So there it is. Those are our initial bets. We'll wait for Rob and Shane to fill those out before Thursday. Final thoughts, Ryan. Plugs. Time's yours.
Yeah, listen, this, it's funny that this is going to kind of be how the first real test to see and determine, how this division is shaped up. And I definitely did not think it was going to be the Commanders. So, if we win this one, we're a game and a half up, with them still having their bye. So theoretically could get up to 2. So this is huge. And considering that we got a couple of nice, tough games coming up, Pittsburgh, Ravens, we obviously got to face the Commanders again. So getting this win is huge for setting the tone for not only the second matchup, but for a couple other tough matchups that we're going to have to do, especially like against the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, a very similar rushing quarterback. So, this is going to be fun. I cannot wait. But yeah, follow me right here on X. Shoot me a message if you're going to be down there at the game. Come on down to Lot M and have a beer.
All right. What about you, David?
I mean, I agree with what Ryan said, that going into the season, nobody thought that the Commanders would be the top competition, and I still don't think they're the top competition. I do not think they're in the same class as the Eagles. The Eagles are 7-2. They're playing their best football they've played in over a year. I think they're playing it at the right time. They're facing, the Washington for an NFC East divisional showdown to have first place overall. They were within 5 minutes of being the number 1 seed in the entire NFC a few nights ago if the Lions didn't come back and get 13 points against Houston in the last few minutes there. I think that this team is playing for a lot more than just divisional games and all. They want number 1 seed. They want to run this thing out. I don't think there's many teams in the NFC that can run with them. So I think that this is going to be a beatdown on Thursday night.
Nice.
And I guess we'll come back Tuesday if I'm wrong, and I'll have to listen to it. But I think they're the class of the NFC, and most definitely the class of the NFC East.
Love it. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm kind of in that same boat. I'm weirdly confident in this one. I don't know why.
All right.
I don't know why. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thursday, we will have halftime and postgame as normal. Can't wait to see you then. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. He is David at PHL Eagle News. I'm Dives, Mr. Crockpot on X. Go check out Eagles Pin Pull. Subscribe. Smash that like button if you think the Eagles are going to be victorious against the Commanders. For Ryan, for David, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.